All right, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and we might finally have an intro. I don't know. I've messed with it and tried to come up with it. Let me let me tell you, there's probably going to be a whole lot of trial and error in today's episode. So yes, we got the intro. Yes, we're going to have a second cam so we can show parts of the room as far as the screen, as far as being able to show you guys some stuff when it comes to scouting. So anybody watching this in the future or live, I'm going to tell you this right now. There are going to be mistakes, and hopefully we can all just work together and get through them. I apologize in advance. All right, so real quick, before we get into the world and life of scouting, all it means and the stuff a scout goes through, whether it's at the NFL, NBA, MLBA level, I'll try to take you through it, give you some stuff for your thoughts, and really that's all today's show is going to be about, is educating anybody who's watching this what a scout goes through, what they make, some of the responsibilities, duties, and some of the things, more importantly, you look for as a scout. What makes player A work where player B you're going to go, maybe not so much. So real quick, I want to do a sound check. Can you guys hear me? And hear me well, I guess, because I am going to have to do some things differently with two cameras today. So let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making a push to get to 6,700 subs. So, we're about, 95 subs away from that. So if you can help out, that would be great. If you enjoyed the video and everything we're doing in the channel and the show today, hit that thumbs up button. And last, never least, if you're looking to buy or sell a property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text. It can be the Upper Peninsula, Detroit area, Saginaw area, Lansing area, Cadillac area, St. Joe, Niles area, Kalamazoo area. Give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. All right, real quick, when we do the show today, I'll be showing you guys this particular view. That will be the big dry erase board. I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to make it jump a little bit more, pop a little bit more. All right, I'm trying here. I'm trying to get these things to help on out a little bit. So, I guess we'll do what we can with it. I was hoping to make it extend a little bit higher, but maybe not. Hey, there we go. Hey, trial and error. We got it figured out. So, like I said, there's going to be tons of errors and issues here, but we'll go through it. Try to get through it. Sounds great. That's good. Hopefully, it will continue that way as I step over to the coaching board. I also thought maybe in the future, while I seem to be pretty restricted what I can show on video, we can do stuff on the board to try to walk you guys through it, and I'll probably have to get another stand to take the board a little closer. So I'll do what I can. How about that? How about that? All right, let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to bring up this cam, make it the big cam. I'm going to step on over there. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to step over here, and you guys let me know. I'll come back and have to, unfortunately, check this particular screen. But when I'm standing over here, can you guys hear me okay? And I'll have to give you guys a couple seconds. But if you can, that'd be great. And then I'll check it out on the screen. Let's see. Good. All right. Sounds good. All right. So, all right. I'll go ahead and take these off. This is for basketball stuff, not for scouting stuff. So, anyway, in college football, there's roughly 73,000 college football players. Let that sink in. As a life of a scout at the NFL level, you're going to have to be able to assess the vast majority of them. Not all of them, because 16,000 of them are known as draft eligible. So they're going to be able to go into this year's particular draft, and you're going to have to try to make an assertion as a coach, as a scout, who's good, who's not. Remember, most teams only have 6 or 7 draft picks. So that puts a ton of pressure on your scouting department. Usually the scouting departments probably no more than 5, if you're real lucky, 6 people. But I know some NFL teams only have 3 or 4 scouts that they send on out. So let that sink in, how many players you have to go through. As you all know, about 260 of these guys actually get drafted. So you've got to compress as an NFL scout 16,000 down to roughly 259 people. So again, let that sink in. You've got to go through a ton of work to try to find people. Of course, this means less than 2% of the guys who are draft eligible even get drafted. So your chances, just because you play college football at D1, D2 level, are pretty minute, as I think everybody gets. All right. Each scout, so each person is going to get roughly 270 to 400 people that they're going to have to compress information, data, and personality adjustments on. So while not every NFL team, NBA team, college scout team, basically whatever league you're going to look at, not everybody's going to assess personality traits. It's just not in their wheelhouse. As we talked about before on the show, you're seeing more and more teams do what the Europeans and the Asian leagues have been doing now for a little over a decade. And they want somebody to go out there who can not just assess the skill sets of the person, the athletic abilities of the person, but they want more and more scouts to be able to dive into the mental aspect of a scout or anybody going to put up a report on. So think about that for a second. When it comes to just the Detroit Lions, we've talked for over a year now. It is my personal opinion, but I don't have any firm information on it, that each of the scouts with the Detroit Lions, or at least one individual within there, once they turn in their draft grades on them and their notes, all that stuff, their breakdown information, they're now taking that a step further and looking into the personality traits of those people. They want to narrow it down even more to make sure when this player is drafted by this team, they fit the framework that this team wants. So there's a lot of pressure on each of these individuals to come through with that. All right, I'm going to check the notes, make sure it's loud and clear. Okay, yeah, okay, just making sure. Again, a lot of trial and error with this, but if this works out today and I figure out some more of the kinks, then yeah, we'll end up, maybe I'll even get a screen brought in here so we can go through X's and O's and stuff like that. All right, so as a scout in your respective sport, and obviously with this video, we're going to talk primarily about NFL scouting. The bulk, like probably 80% of your season is compressed in an incredibly small time frame. And that's after the season, but yet before the NFL draft. So during the regular season, most scouts are out there watching college football, and they're going to be restricted to a segment of the country. So Scout A is going to get the Midwest, Scout B is going to get the left coast, Scout C is going to get the right coast. I mean, you get the gist. Because keep in mind, like we said before, most teams really only carry somewhere between 3 and 5, maybe extreme circumstances. Somebody's really just throwing out the cheddar out there, 6, 7 scouts. So those guys have to go through a ton of players, break them down, and cover the country. I mean, their families don't see them a whole lot because they're always on the road to a game, getting from one hotel to the next. And when they're on the road between games or between flights, whatever, they're watching on their iMac, iPad, or whatever games. And they're going to probably try to, back in when I started in, whatever it was, 2016 or 17, I mean, you try to watch a player for 6, 7 games, try to really break things down and try to get a baseline for them. Look for extremes. Look for weaknesses, but try to find out basically your Roche limit, your even level, your VWAP on it. All right, so each scout is going to come up with roughly, between the entire scouting department, I should say, roughly 1,000 player evaluations. So now that they've got through the college football season, they've done all their assessments. Each of the college scouts, from their 270 to 400. They're going to try to compress it down to 1,000 digestible first wave information packages for Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, and whoever else is going to be involved to go through. From that point, let this sink in. They're now going to get these 1,000 on the first cuts. The first cuts, they're going to want to get them down to roughly 700 evals. They're going to eliminate 300 guys real quick. And this is just maybe a month before the draft, maybe 6 weeks. Within the next week, they're going to get that 700 down to 500. And then within a week after that, they're going to get it down to 200. About 10 days before that draft, that 200 is going to get dropped down to about 20 individuals. I mean, there could be an argument to be made for 30, but you get it. How much time they have to spend after the season and before the draft eliminating players, looking for every little nuance that might make the difference between hitting a home run and hitting a dud, stepping on a landmine, whatever you want to say for a mistake. That's how much pressure these guys are on, and that's why you don't really see much of them after the season, because guess what they're doing? Looking and debating every topic. What do you think of the 40? What do you think of the shuttle? What do you think about him in pads? Does he run faster in pads than he does, without the pads? Some guys are 40 fast, so in a scouting combine fast, but they're completely different once you put the pads on. They just slow down exponentially. That's also why some guys who don't run a 40 fast, but yet with the pads on, they maintain their speed. So you have to figure out the variances there. The vertical jump, the ability to process information, reactionary things, all that comes into play. All right, so let me take this off the board real quick. Probably should have brought a spray bottle, but hindsight's 20/20, right? All right, trying to do this all live and not make huge mistakes. All right, so if you're going to scout, you have to know what to look for as a scout. So let's just talk about football players. And right here, we're going to start off just simply with quarterbacks. So every team's got a grocery list, and this is true in college or the professional level. So what is the grocery list? Let's just say, here's my QBs, wide receivers. You guys get it. O tackles, OGs, whatever you want to put in there, tight ends. We talked about getting it down to roughly, 200 evaluations left, and from there getting it down to maybe 50 or so. So here we're going to put our grades. Here's our number 1 prospect, number 8 prospect, 23, etc. We're going to narrow it down to those 30, 40 guys that we're saying, hey, if they're up there on the board, we want to be able to react to them or make it move up, down in the draft real quick. So since this is our number 1 prospect, we're also going to make sure we have their athletic score, or most people call it RAS now or whatever. We don't want their emotional score. So emotional score, how do they do when we watch film in close situations, pressure moments? How did this person react? And yeah, sometimes you have to really dive through tons of tape. You want to look for body language. You want to look for any kind of emotional response in that stressful situation. Now, we find one example. Can we find 2, 3, 4, 5? Because then you start getting your baseline drawn from them. And while it's not always fun, you want to watch post-game, pre-game interviews. That's the real defining thing that's happening more and more, and not just in sports, but you're watching it happen in most Fortune 500 companies. Not everybody, as you guys probably know, handles stress and duress well. Some people make it look easy, some fall apart. So you got your RAS and your EMT scores. Now you want to watch other stuff like reaction scores. Just now you want to look for body components. So wingspan. Sorry if my spelling and handwriting isn't always the greatest. You want to look for the shuttle drills, the combine scores. So you want to basically, when you get it down to 40 people, you want to take all the 8 major components that you're going to grade people on and compress that information as fast as you can for Brad Holmes in this case, and come up with sound numbers on each of those 40 guys. So our quarterback in this example is the number 1 person on the board for us as far as our best player available. So this is, you guys heard me talk about a week or 2 ago, all evaluations would be done within 48 hours of the start of the NFL draft. Part of the reason for that is so when you go to your board, you can say, here's our number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40th top ranked people in our opinions, our assessments of the situation. If player 1 falls down to us, and that's our best player rated on the board, as they get closer and closer to us, do we want to make a trade? You guys, if you remember when the draft happened and Terrion Arnold was picked, I said on my board, and I didn't do months of deep diving on him or anything, but in whatever it was, the month that I just did some gradings on players, I had him as the 10th best player, regardless of position, but player. And that's because of a combination of those 8 different areas and then multiplying that versus other positions and areas. So in my opinion, as a scout, Detroit Lions at the number 24 pick were able to acquire the number 10 best player. And in the second round at number 61, we were able to get the number 35 best player in all the NFL draft, so on and so forth. I didn't do everybody who made it into the draft. I don't have that kind of free time. So that at least gives you some idea what the scouts are looking for. And then it comes down to positional values too. So as a quarterback, in this case, when we're watching the field, and all right, you got the line there. We'll just say X receiver here, Z receiver here, H Bay 1 here. Oops, that's Larry barking out there. Tight end or H route there. So what we want to see out of quarterback 1, is in that post and pre-snap read. So pre-snap, we want to see their ability to progress through all 3 levels of the defense. With the first level here, the defensive line or whoever's up there at the line of scrimmage, we want to be able to see under stress and press. It's easy when you're blowing somebody out by 40 billion points or whatever, or they've got a lame defense where there's no real adjustments, there's nothing happening. This part should be easy then if there's not much flexing or happening, not much reading happen pre-snap. But if you have somebody who changes their defenses a lot and makes it difficult on opposing teams, say like the Baltimore Ravens, how do they do in their pre-snap reads? Now, post-snap, when this guy showed shooting the gaps here to put pressure on the center and force these guys to slide over, this guy dropped to take away tight end 2. With the X receiver, we know he was going on a go route. So SF1 has to slide over. Can he read that drop to not throw that pick? And I won't bore you guys with all the X's and O's, but that's part of the life of a scout. You've got to be able to ascertain all that information based on those 8 scores and put it on in. Now, we all know what head coaches and offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, what their salary is. Most base starting out scouts start around 40 to 50,000, even at the NFL level. Over time, they might eventually get up to 80 to 90,000 a year. And hey, if you love your job, you're taking this job because you're trying to get into something else, either the front office or the coaching staff, whatever. It's a doorway into something. Some guys end up going from being an NFL scout to being on ESPN or whatever else because that's the route they want to go. And there's tons of different reasons for it. If you're working in the media, typically it's a lot more family-friendly time than it is when you're doing something else. NFL teams, I think you all get it. You've heard me say it before, you're hired to be fired. If you're not putting in the time and the grind, somebody else will. Because out of all this, these are the NFL players that you're going to draft. The 70-some-odd thousand guys that are in college football getting pressed down to 16,000 draft eligible, getting pressed down to 259 or whatever it is for the actual draft, and how much pressure it puts on each of those scouts. Because if you don't hit, if you end up turning in bust picks or meh picks, you're out of that job pretty quick. But, there are so many people applying for these jobs and trying to get them. The pressure is on that in order to maintain, you have to hold a certain type of rating. So in an example, I can tell you this for the NBA, just because I have a lot more ties to that than I do the NFL when it comes to scouting. You've got to have a 92.3 return on investment grade. So that means when I turn in my selections, there's really only a 7% chance that this guy's not going to work out at the level I'm predicting. Now, that prediction level could be they're a bust, they're a meta player, do not sign, free agent, whatever type of route you're taking or offering the team, you better be pretty dang right on it. All right, let's head back to the board and get back to the show. All right, let me remove that and bring that back on here. So how'd that work for you guys as far as the scouting stuff in using the second cam? Let me know, guys, because obviously I'm over there. Hopefully the sound worked out and everything. But at least that gives you guys some idea about the life of a scout. Now, I'll open it up from here for questions or whatever and go from there. But let's do what we normally do on the show. Let's move our way on down. And if you guys need me to get more specifics on certain areas or topics of the scouting department or tree, let me know. JDC, good morning, all. Good morning to you, too. Michael, let's see. Greetings, salutations, Coach and Duke crew. Back at you. Bo, good Sunday morning. Hold on. Let me turn off the other cam because it does provide some kickback and feedback. So, yeah, let me see if I can just fix that real quick. So, sorry about that, guys. And let me go ahead and let's see. Kick from studio. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Mike Rain, howdy, Dan. And Lions NFC North champs. Oh, woo! Woo! There you go. Jedi Sith. Good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Hopefully, have an outstanding one. Matthew Green, citations. Good morning, everyone. Super Bowl or bust! Exclamation point. And woo! Good morning to you, Matthew. Lions fan number one. Green, citations all. Does anyone know when the real schedule comes out? Question mark. Soon, isn't it? Yeah, I want to say it's like in a week, basically. So I'll have to check out the date and get it to you. Hoogadoo, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Let's have a woo-tastic day. There you go. Steve Rogers, woo! Morning to all. Good morning. Yeah, somewhere Don Burr is not happy. All right, Michael, my guess is May 9th for the schedule to come out. Fair enough. Detroit Polar Bear, what do you got? Interesting tidbit. The NFL scout would have let Brad known about Christian Mahogany's had successful run blocking reps on tape to go with 33.5 arms. He was used in run blocking right tackle assignments only. There you are, right? Quentin Green, salutations, y'all. Who ready for the dang season, man? Let's get things rolling. 1,000%. Bo, thinking we will get a lot of primetime games, nice and all. But I really look forward to a 1 p.m. To 1 p.m.s on Sundays. Yeah, and that's kind of the down part of the success of the Detroit Lions. In my opinion, we're probably going to get 5 or 6 premium games, primetime games, whatever, mega slot games. It takes you out of, at least me, it takes I think most fans out of their norm on Sundays to where, hey, you're looking good, you're looking forward to 1 o'clock, you're in your routine, and now that routine is going to be at least slightly altered. All right, Robert, greetings to all Lions Talk peeps. There you go. Detroit Polar Bear, what do you got? Quentin, Super Bowl or bust? 100%. I am hoping for some easier games to start the schedule while the secondary gels. Who is the leader of the secondary? That we're going to have to wait to see. Dave, good morning. All Revenge of the 5th be with you. There you go. Yesterday, may the 4th be with you. Now Revenge of the 5th. Gotcha. All right. Hoogadoo, Coach, if some of the scouts get poached by other NFL teams, have you ever thought of looking into it? Have I thought about it? Sure. Would Jen probably crucify me if I did it? Yes. Just because you are gone so much. I mean, if you don't know, and I know I try to allude to it a little bit on the big board, it is a really time-consuming job. And not that coaching isn't or whatever else, but when you do it at that level, you probably get about a month to 6 weeks off a year. And that's a good amount of vacation time for a lot of people. But when you're not in vacation time, yeah, especially when you're talking about once this September hits or October, August, that time of year, when that all comes to fruition, that time of the year gets here, and you're into the midst of college football season, yeah, you're gone. You are on a flight from one place to the next. It's a real fun job. I know I enjoy it, but I also get why, just like I think I've told you guys before, when it comes to professional coaching, there's such a high divorce rate, a number of other issues that pop up just because of the stress and the pressure, the amount of time, the nature of the job requires. Yeah, it's just tough on people, especially if you got family or young ones. All right, Jess, we got greetings and salutations all. Thanks for doing this, Coach. Yeah, 100%, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm sure as we get through the comments, you guys will have some questions. All right, Miles Margaret, good morning, Coach and crew. Ready for an interesting, quote, lecture. Yeah, and let me know your thoughts, again, on the big board, because we can use that for other things, too, now that I'm trying to Scooby-Doo it and figure it out. All right, Bo, I'm thinking that NFL scouting is a real grind, Coach. Would you want to do that? So I've done scouting for professional basketball leagues across the planet, including the WNBA and NBA, mostly pertaining to G League level, CBA, Chinese Basketball Association, and the European Union. And let me tell you, it is a grind. And I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, but now my restrictions are more or less, I don't go across the planet trying to look for basketball players. I go more, for the most part, just in the United States. It's on a limited basis now, just as I've gotten older and just wanted to do more things as far as with life. I help out a little bit, but not full-time like I once did. Let's see, France, what do you got? Good evening, all. This would be something different to dive into. Looking forward to it. Well, I hope you guys enjoying it so far. Silver, let's see. Good morning, Coach, and everyone else. God bless us. 1,000%. Good morning to you, Surfer. Just say, Kate, greetings and salutations all. Back at you. Miles, good evening, Transfernet. Yeah. Thanks for joining us every evening, man. Well, thanks everybody for being here, whether it's evening, morning, or anything in between. All right, Brett, good morning, Coach Dugru. Happy shooting range Sunday, exclamation point. Go Lions. Woo! Good morning to you, and hopefully you shoot them straight there, Brett. Let's see, Polar Bear, take a kid fishing. We caught 5 specks, and he caught 2 bass in a corp. He grabbed my pole a couple of times. All right, fair enough. All right, fair enough. JDC, good morning, Duke Crew, back at you. George, good morning, all listening while driving today. We'll drive and don't pay attention to the phone. All right, Big Eddie, good morning, Duke Crew. All right, back at you, Eddie. Hopefully have an outstanding morning. JDC, I'm a professional sitter. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, Dave, morning, everyone. 1 day closer to training camp. Yes, we are. 1 day closer. Rocky, good morning. I'll hope your day goes good. There you go. And back at you. Hopefully your day is outstanding. Miles Martin, Coach, I'm wondering how many, if any, women NFL scouts have you met? Are they even encouraged? Recall what earlier commissioner told Sheila, no room in the in the end. I know nowadays there are some, just like I'm sure most people are aware, there are NFL football female coaches, just like officials and everything else. It's just the world has changed. It's become more open-minded, and really, it's no different than a lot of big companies. They could care less what your gender, your race, or anything else is. Do you produce results? And I get how things used to be, but I can also tell you just in my lifetime how much they have changed. Is there still some bias? Probably. But I can also tell you, if you got a rep to IDing talent and being able to properly assess talent, and remember, teams only have those 6-7 picks every year. If you can help them get 1 or 2 wins that they might have normally not received, they're going to remember that, and they're going to want you around. All right, Rocky, I notice when the Lions are bad, nobody touches on any of our coaches or scouts. But once we get a good system here, they come and poach the lowly Lion staff. Yeah, it's price of success. And you have to keep in mind, too, I know I mentioned a little bit on the board, that when you start getting into these jobs, the lower end jobs, most people, the vast majority, they want to move up the charts. They want to get into the front office or the coaching ranks, depending on their individual wishes. So yeah, I get it. They want to move up, and obviously that move up gives you more responsibility, bigger pay, etc. All right, Matthew, cornerbacks would be Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis, then Emmanuel Mosley and Terrion Arnold. Fair enough. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it all plays out in the cornerback room or the secondary room. All right, is that still you looking to be a good show? Good morning, back at you. All right, Miles, JDC, a Pro Bowl, a pro what? There you go. All right, pro what? Matthew, Coach, have you seen tape on Maurice Norris yet? I have not yet. Not yet, Matthew. No, unfortunately not yet. Polar Bear, thanks, Rocky. Hit a deer on I-75 near Birch Run at 2:30 a.m. Friday night. I am okay and didn't find the deer, but it smashed up my grill, hood, radiator. Took my girlfriend's car fishing Saturday. Hey, thankfully she had a car for you to take and let you take it. So, yeah, I know you talked to me in the text or everything. Just glad you're okay, man. Doing all right. JDC, sitter. I sit a lot. Fair enough. Miles, laughing out loud. Bo, coach or easy chair. Couch or easy chair, excuse me. Let's see, Brent, laughing. All right, Matthew, glad you are okay. DZPBB, a deer hit on 75 doesn't always end well. No, I would agree not. JDC, attained pro status at retirement. There you go. And sitting, there you go. Well, congratulations on your achievement. All right, Miles, maybe JDC moves seasonally, question mark. So now he's a picnic table. All right. Bo, new start. Yes, it was. And let me know. I mean, that's the first one I try to make with an intro. Seemed okay, but if you guys have any thoughts or ideas, throw them on out there. Michael, great start, Coach. Love the intro. Fair enough. And thanks for that, Michael. All right, Mike Lorraine, I love the Duke Crew with Dan leading the way. There you go. I live in North Carolina and still call it pop. Not soda, huh? Nah, all right, fair enough. And woo, there you go, Gunny. Matthew, how was the Panthers kicker doing? I didn't check on him yesterday. I tried to get some stuff ready for this, try to figure out some stuff to make it work. So yeah, I'll have to do a check on that, Matthew. Let's see. 9 Drinks of Green Salutations, Duke Crew, back at you. Mike Marine, what do you got? Cool intro. Thank you. Michael, yep. Big Daz, what do you got? Good morning, all. I made it back for the morning show again. Look at you, man. And thank you. Bo, I like the retro feel. Okay, thanks for that. Matthew, yes. Polar Bears, secondary additions not only exceeded expectations, but Brad did more than other general managers would consider possible. Could be a lot of truth that. Woo! And back at you. All right, Bo, sounds good. All right, Miles, yes, hear you well. Thank you. Big Daz, hear you well. All right, JDC audio is okie dokie. Dr. Detroit, waving, fair enough. 9 Drinks sounds great. Miles Barker, good. Miles Barker, you sound good. There you go. Big Daz, yes, hear you. They all right. Bo, loud and clear. Angle is good. All right. Miles Barker, holy moly, 73K. Yes, yeah, it's a lot of guys in college football in different areas. All right, Matthew, from Michigan, but first couple years on Army base in Virginia. My dad grew up with his grandparents and then bunked a number of men from Kentucky to Tennessee during World War II. So we have called it Soda Pop. All right, Soda Pop it is. All right, Big Daz, glad to be here this morning. Most of the time I hear you broadcast later in the day. Woo! Well, hey, glad you could be here for the show and live. Miles, welcome to the live, Big Daz. There you go. Big Daz, thank you, Miles. All right, let's see. Mike's brain question. Is that why they love area scouts for regions of the country? Yeah. So Gunny, how it works typically is when you're hired on, you're given an area that you're going to be able to start working as far as your scouting status. So then you can start really diving into building your board for your players for your area. It also means you're far more likely to pick up on any normalities or abnormalities for those players, those coaches, those teams. It just helps with the evaluation process. You want to try to keep your scouts to a specific area. I think I put it on the board. Basically, you're going to be responsible for as many as 400 to 500 players. And that may not seem like a lot until you have to spend, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 7 games of film breaking down that player. And then times that by, like I said, 400 to 500 players. That's a lot of data to compress. Now, you should be able to, as a scout, you should be able to watch somebody play for, it's going to be different from sport to sport, but let's just say 30 minutes. 30 minutes as a scout at the pro level, you should be able to ascertain whether or not they simply have the athletic ability to play at your level that you're desiring. Now, do they have the technical ability, or at least where are they in that route tree for the technical ability, the coachable stuff? 3, and this is probably the hardest part, is the personality traits. And again, not doing a deep dive into each of the major categories or types of personality traits that you're assessing players on, you're going to probably spend another couple hours if you're watching them live in person for that stuff. So when I go out and watch say a basketball player for me to be or dive into giving reviews on, I probably watch them for 15, 20 minutes to be able to say, hey, is this person worthy of me sitting around for an hour or 2 hours to assess the nonverbal communication skills, the body language, the personality assessments? In the first, 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to be able to figure out whether or not they have just the athleticism and potentially the skills for a professional team that I'm responsible for giving that assignment to, or that write-up and review on. And once I've assessed that, now if I'm going to invest another hour or so watching them live in person so I can see how they, and again, this is basketball I'm talking about, how they do in transition when they don't have the ball, when they're on the bench, when they don't get a call, they're going their way. Now, can I follow that up with finding cooperating information of them doing a pregame interview, postgame interview, something on social media where they're just talking and off the record or whatever to people, so I can really dive into their personality traits. Who are they when they take the mask off in front of the camera for those interviews? So you guys all get it. There's a lot of work to do, and especially as that's being equated into things more and more, think about having to do that for probably 200 people. Because, when you get your list down to 400 to 500 at the NFL level, you're not going to do all that deep diving into the personalities on each of them. You just don't have that kind of resources or time. But when you start getting down to 200 or 100, that's when that starts coming in, and you're talking about sitting down into interviews. Usually somebody else is interviewing them, and you're just sitting there acting like you're taking notes or whatever. Or maybe in some rare circumstances, you're on the other side of the shield or the glass watching them, with hopefully them not knowing you're watching them. So there you go. Silver Surfer 8 coach, how about adding a little bit of Honolulu blue and white stripes on that silver wall? You know, that's not a bad idea, Surfer. I'll look into that. Good thinking there. Donkey Super Bowl or bust 100%. Good morning to you, Donkey. JDC, multi-use towel of destiny, magic marker eraser. Nice. Yeah. Hey, you got to cover a lot of shifts. You got to have a lot of different responsibilities when you're a professional scout. JDC, yeah, I mean, Bo Booth. Yeah, there you go. Laughing out loud. There you go. Miles, yes. Mr. Nico, the video we've been waiting for. I'm going to use this strategy for picking my players in fantasy football. I like the way you're thinking. All right, Michael D, need to write in bigger letters. Cannot read that what you are writing. Sorry, man. I'll try to, like I said at the start of the show, there'll be a lot of learning curve in this video just because it's going to use some new stuff. But I will try to, get the secondary camera closer to the dry erase board. I'll get a stand or something to put it on. And then, I'll have to learn to write exponentially larger. Robert Yankee, how much does a multi-use towel of destiny cost? I'd say about $2, maybe $1 at the Dollar General or something like that. I'm hanging out with Brad Holmes when I go there, right? Don Burr, ban the woo. Woo! There you go. Ban of the woo! Just for you, Don Burr. All right, JTC, Robert Yankee, Coach Dan can answer that. There you go. Don ban the bark. Sorry about that. One of the dogs, got a little worked up. Bo, the woo! This woo is for you. There you go. JDC, Don Burr, this woo is for you. Oh boy, here we go. Don Burr is, yes, he's enjoying this opportunity. JDC, y'all beat me to it, Bo. There you are. All right. Miles Mark, Ravens, still my nightmare team to play. Yeah, they provide a lot of problems. Maybe not as much in the postseason, but the regular season they do. Hookadoo, he's trained to bark at people that ban the woo. All right, the woo. There you go. Bo, I was sitting on it. JDC, the JDC laughing. Miss Nico, scouting has to have some high turnover rate. It does because it's one thing if you're younger, single, etc. Or I guess how about this? If you're just single, but once you start having a relationship with somebody and then maybe a marriage and then children, it gets tough because you're going to miss the vast majority of their things because, let's say college football games are mostly now Saturday nights, and you'll have some other nights too. But think about it. You've got to get there. Probably you got to get into the airport on Thursday. You're gone Friday. You got to set up on Saturday. Maybe if you're real lucky, you fly back Saturday night, but chances are you're probably flying back home on Sunday. So over half your week, you're gone. And then you got to do all your homework. Now that you were there watching there, taking notes and stuff. Let me tell you, one of the biggest advantages that's come to pass is the fact that you can take notes on your phone, dictating, so you never have to take your eyes off the field or the court or whatever it is. Where in the past, you'd have to, jot things down and you might miss stuff. But you got to take all that information on Monday, typically, and compress that information, get it over and uploaded so you can now compare it to further results for that player or other players. It's a massive, massive, undertaking. And you don't you get paid okay. You love what you're doing. You don't have any expenses. But at the end of the day, you're doing it so you can evolve into something else. All right, Robert, Dog of Destiny. There he is. He's letting you know. Matthew, good. All right. Miles, work good, but too small to read. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll try to work on that for the future. So thanks for the feedback, guys. David, Lions are looking good. They are. Big Daz, good job, Coach. Thank you. Bo, Scout is barking in the wilderness. There you go. Brent, thanks for the breakdown, Coach. Anytime. Mike the Marine, question. The Lions have college and pro scouts. Can you define the pro scouts too? Yes. So the pro scouts, they're watching, especially during the preseason or any regular season game, they're breaking down all the players. So if that player gets released, they'll have a grade or assessment on them. They can make a good opinion whether or not they want to acquire that player. So they're also always scanning other teams with the idea that if they need to potentially make a trade as well, they already have grades and rankings on those players. So there are, like you point to, Gunny, there are the college scouts and then there are the pro scouts. But at the end of the day, the job's fairly similar. It's just who you're watching and evaluating. And typically, just to throw it out there, he said if you're real lucky as a team, you've got 5 or 6 college scouts. Most teams are only going to have 3 or 4. As far as the pro scouts, you got 2, and that's it. One NFC, one AFC. So those guys, while there's less people for them to evaluate, there's a lot of pressure on them because they have to watch all those teams. I get it. There's worse things in life than being forced and paid pretty well to watch NFL football games. But again, you've got to have a certain percentage when you put your grades and rankings out on them. I mean, you got to be way more right than you are wrong. JDC, thumbs up, breakdown. Thank you for that. Don Burr, ban the woo. There we go. Mike Rain, thanks for the scout breakdown. Anytime, man. Anytime. JDC, Ed Don Burr, I hear they want to ban the woo at the NFL stadiums. Not going to happen here. Fair enough. Robert, Ravens, let's play them first. That game was full of correctable plays. It was, man. We should be able to improve exponentially on it. Hookadoo, Miles Martin, I agree. I always watch on a cell phone. It's small. Sorry about that, guys. And again, I'll learn from it and try to improve upon it. And I'll try to get the camera closer to the board to try to help out with things in the future. But remember, this is the first time I've done the intro, done the camera of destiny. So we'll all grow from it. All right, Mr. Nico, what happens when you pass up on a sleeper? ? Would it be a case in which no one saw that player be successful in their position? ? Or would someone get in trouble for not looking at the tape well enough? All the above. People are going to want, somebody's head to roll. And everybody gets that. It's the same in any profession. Somebody misses something. Somebody's going to get blamed for it. Think about how many people missed out on lots of different players over the years. Look at the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. There was probably more than a few teams that had questions. Why did we miss this guy? And if James Houston has another good season like he did his rookie year, then they're going to have those same questions about them. Mahogany, if he ends up being something, which we all think him and Manu are, that's going to cause a lot of revisions in other scouting departments. And probably they'll come back to those guys who were responsible for those individual players on other teams, look at their ratings. If they were that egregiously wrong, unfortunately, you could find yourself unemployed. Let's see. Rocky, who pays for a scout's travel and motel, and is food included? So good question. The teams pay for that. It's part of your stipends that you're given for that, but they cover all the costs. You have a corporate or team card. You're given certain parameters. The hotel, the travel, that's usually pretty good. It's how much food you can spend. And no, you can't buy booze and everything. You usually got to do that out of your own pocket if you're going to buy a beer or something like that. But they give you a pretty favorable allotment. So when you factor all that in, you get to keep the points on the air travel and stuff like that. I know long time ago, but not currently, they used to just reimburse everybody, but now they just give the scouts a corporate card, and that way it's easier for the teams to handle all the paperwork. Mr. Nico, if a player has been scouted and has a horrible attitude, but they are a good player, do you still take them? ? I know that doesn't stop the Cowboys. No, different teams have different parameters on it. For my scouting that I do, there are very specific things you have to look for and cannot allow, especially when you're talking about different cultural stuff. So in the United States, are there some things that you can get away with here that you can't say in the Middle East? Yes. Same with China or Asia. Yes. Russia, part of Europe, all of that has to come into factor when you're scouting more on a worldwide basis. Now, for the NFL level, the Detroit Lions are not going to accept certain things that, say, as you put to, the Cowboys will. They're just different parameters. I'm not here to say one's right or wrong, but you are 100% right. Those do come into factor. Miles, Rocky, excellent question. What is the financial step up? So teams cover all the expenses, hotel accommodations, all that stuff, travel, all that stuff, food. But basically, what you get in return, you get a lot of points, you get your salary. Yeah. So it's not bad at all, and you will get pay raises. My anticipation is at the NFL level, the top paid scouts are probably right around six figures. 100,000, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but right around there. All right, Silver, there is almost nothing a woman cannot do even better than a man. And if I am sure of one thing a woman can do very well is scouting a man. There you go. They'll pick the winning horse right away. Yeah, I would say this. I have six older sisters, and yeah, they're always going to let me know that they're better at something than I am. Mr. Nico, Coach, is going to be an excellent Eminem album, the way he reads the comments. There you go. MCDT, spinning bars. Do what I can, man. Thank you, Mr. Nico. Rocky, sorry about that. Detroit Zoo, been involved with a few deer incidents myself. Glad you're okay. Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, the car can be fixed. Glad you are okay. JDC, Silver Surfer, they cannot hit the high spot on the wall or write their name on the snow. All right, fair enough. Miles Marker, Coach, do you see AI having a place in scouting, for instance, running the numbers of odds and success of a specific player? My opinion, not in the foreseeable future. So I don't see, when it comes to AI or, production-based engineering, so something like at the grocery store, checkout services or whatever, I don't think you're going to see that in construction services anytime soon. Just don't think it's nearly ready for AI or anything like that to build a house or anything or stuff like that. I also think when it comes to personality assessments, understanding the nuances of what some players go through and do, maybe someday in the future it can. I don't think we're near it yet. Now, if you're talking about crunching the analytics on players, the 40 time, the RAS score, the vertical leap, all that stuff, yeah, it can handle all that stuff in a hurry. But I don't foresee it being, over the top and replacing scouts or coaches or stuff like that anytime soon. But I would say this, there's probably a lot of industries like, and this is just me talking for myself, like being a lawyer or something like that, that I think AI could replace at some point, but I just don't think it's here yet. All right, let's see, Mr. Nico, what draws a scout to a small, no-name town to see a player, question mark? Do they start at a high school level and follow them through college? No, there's a lot of stuff that will tip off a scout. So use this as an example. When you get to your D3s or D2s, most stuff nowadays, where you're talking high school, collegiately, professionally, you can watch all the games online nowadays. You can be anywhere in the world and watch these games happen live. There's tons of different networks that are set up. COVID, one of the great things of COVID is that they set up all these different cameras in all these different fields, all these different levels, where if you've heard this guy's having an outstanding season, at whatever position, maybe I can't make it there live, but you know what? I've got enough interest where, I'm going to go and watch that game tonight live. Or if it was last week, I'm going to go and watch it on replay. And you can do that. So again, you can do that in high school. You can do that in college. You can do that at the pros at any different level. You just have to pay the subscription service. But good thing about being a scout, your team will pay that subscription service if they don't already have one set up. Trump, woo, 100%, and good morning. Mike the Marine, scouts develop relationships with teams for work ethics and personalities. What else are you asking? I guess maybe there's a question for somebody. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, maybe questions you're asking. So when you're developing your relationships, like you point out, with different teams or members of those teams, most of the time when I'm a scout talking to collegiate staff, that collegiate staff wants to get to where you are or higher. So they want to develop that relationship. If they didn't have any tidbits, inside information, they're probably going to give it to you because they want to, incur favor. No different than being a high school coach who's trying to gain favor with a prominent college coach because you want to try to get picked up on their staff. That's why you go work summer camps and stuff like that for them. There's lots of different questions they'll ask on you, like, how do they handle this situation? How do they handle that situation? How do they in the classroom? Is this a trustworthy person? How do they conduct themselves in this type of manner? Just you try to get as much detailed information on the person as you can. maybe I should just summarize by saying that. Miles, I assume there are software packages aimed at scouting. Yeah, tons of them out there. You'd be surprised. I mean, if you're not a scout or if you're not a coach, you probably don't have any idea. But nowadays, probably maybe like the last 5 or 10 years, there's tons of stuff. You can probably go find some on your phone. Go to the App Store and look it up. But there's all sorts of different material out there. I'm still fairly old school when I do my assessments. I take my notes, but I do it on my phone. I keep my eyes on the players. I'm watching for all the little information I can because that's what's comfortable to me. And I turn over my stuff, my video breakdowns. If I get them to talk post-game, pre-game, or like I said, scan social media for them talking to somebody about something, that's where I take it all. I do break down facial movements, components, their primary muscles they use in their face, all that stuff, so I can find normalities with them, how they use their hands when they're talking or don't use their hands, their shoulder structure, back structure, stuff like that. But that's where I do some training courses for younger scouts to get them to learn the kinesics, the nonverbal communication or body language skills. All right, JDC Scout, go find Lassie. There you go. Broski, server. That's one of the biggest beta male comments I've ever heard. Fair enough. JDC, server JDC, smiling, thumbs up. Miles Marker Scouting, looking for Boo, can only find Bo. There you go. JDC laughing. Hey, we're having a good time this morning. Server, what is a beta male comment, Broski? All right. What the hell is a beta male? Who knows, man? Uncle Buzz, does a scout need to learn to pronounce names? It probably doesn't hurt, but hey, I'm not great at it, and hey, I own it. You can make people laugh if you own up to it, though. When you're really good or bad at something, people can sometimes embrace it. All right, Trump, oh boy, here we go. And Silver, you speak a language I don't understand, Broski. At the most, I can. All right, fair enough. All right, you guys are having a little bit of a debate. JDC, got to be able to be alpha. A beta is at times, sometimes on life's wants. All right. Famous RW. Wonder how many scouts got fired behind being wrong on Tom Brady. That would be an interesting video there, famous. But because every team passed on him multiple times. So, but he's by no means the only one. But there's the other part of this too. Did he become great because he got passed so many times? How much did getting passed over for Amon-Ra St. Brown be a contributing factor? Rakestraw this upcoming year. How much is this going to galvanize his career? Because I know some people were watching him when he got drafted and thought, man, he didn't want to be a Detroit Lion. He was, visibly emotional, upset. And then we hear him talk after the interview process, and he says, hey, I'm happy to be in Detroit. I'm just less than happy that I saw all these other guys go before me that I know I'm better than. So I think he's going to use that for some real rocket fuel. All right, Bo, I'm a Zed. Very good. Hookadoo, Silver, the only thing I can think of is that beta was an old video system. Yeah, before VHS. I remember those, Hookadoo. Moonscar, morning, Duke Crew. Finally dragged my butt out of bed. Well, good morning to you too, man. JDC, Moonscar Blade, you were snoring. He might have been, man. Maybe it wasn't the dog. Maybe it was Moonscar. All right, Broski, server. Yeah, okay, here we go. Hookadoo, Moonscar, you're late. You're late for a very important date. There you go. Mike the Marine, Bo, I'm not an alpha or beta. I'm a Yankee. There you go. Mr. Nico, when using a corporate credit card for a non-itemized receipt, you can put whatever you want on it. You can get alcohol with meals, and you only show the total price, not the items. Yeah, I'll leave that to the individual to handle. It could be possible. There are some ways to handle some things differently, but I'm going to leave that to the individual to address that. So good call on that, though, Mr. Nico. Bo, what do you got? I'm a dandy of a doodler. There you go. Moonscar JDC. That's what my wife just said. Asked if I heard the multiple thundering storms last night. Yeah, I know it went off here for a little bit. JDC, laughing out loud, Z's. All right. Server, JDC, and Hookadoo, smiling. JDC, Motor City Duke Crew, 100%. Lions Talk Live, agreed. Trumps, no Storm and Taylor. There you go. JDC, Coach Dan. Lions getting good. Yes, we are. And woo! Woo! There we go. Mike's brain hit the thumbs. There we go. Ken, hit that thumbs up button, people. Pretty please. I was 17, Gunny. There you go. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up this morning's show. And again, if you guys have any detailed thoughts, whether it be later today or whatever, just hop in the video, leave me some comments, maybe things we can improve upon. And let me know your thoughts on the intro video, the second cam, big board, all that stuff. I get in the future, I'll try to write things out larger without eating up the entire board with one topic. But I'll continue to grow and develop some better understandings of stuff and try to improve upon it if we use it in the future for, situational breakdowns, player breakdowns, maybe talking about route trees, quarterback progressions. If you guys come up with ideas, just fire them away at me and we'll try to do what we can with them. All right, apparently a couple more. Here we go. Putting some rhythm on the chat. There we go. Rather be beta than behind the times. There we go. So we're sort of kicking it up a notch. So that's you, Broski. And is that okay? So fourth. All right, fair enough, Broski. All right. We're having a good morning here. So all right, I'll go and wrap it up. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that push for 6,700 subs. We're about 90 away. So if you can help out, that'd be great. Also, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. As you guys know, it helps the channel out a lot. If there's some breaking news today, I'll try to get it over to you as quick as I can. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.